The Eddie Haskel Show. Here's Eddie. Oh.
Hi, thanks for the Eddie Haskel Show. Tonight on Education Hour, we have 3 teachers here with us, giving their insight on tricks of teaching. Let's introduce our first teacher, Ashley Anderson, a preschool teacher from Bruton, Minnesota.
Thanks for having me here.
Thanks for coming, I appreciate it. I'd like to welcome our next guest, Nicole Boink, a kindergarten teacher from rural Minnesota.
Hi Eddie, it's great to be a part of your show on Education Week.
That's great to have you here also. Our last teachers from Miami, Florida, please welcome Jeremy Lewis, a first grade teacher.
Hi Eddie. I'm a big fan of your show, and it's great to be a part of your show on Education Week.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Let's get started here. What we're going to be doing is asking these teachers some questions on education. Hopefully they can give us some advice for classroom management skills. We received classroom management questions from our viewers out there, and we'll have them answered by these teachers. Our first question comes from Travis. He's a classroom Travis is from Chicago, and he actually emailed us. Which you want to email us, email at Eddie Haskel Show at eddiehaskell.com. Is classroom management necessary for a teacher in a classroom?
Classroom management is a key component in education. Without it, the classroom would not be successful.
I would have to agree with Nicole. If you don't manage your classroom, the children will know it and may take advantage of you.
It's important to begin by practicing classroom management to the students so they know it's important and how to use it.
So basically, classroom management is managing your classroom with like rules and expectations?
Not exactly. Classroom management is more than just rules. It consists of how you set your classroom up, including your seating chart and the furniture and how everything is organized in your classroom.
Classroom management involves being prepared for your lessons and knowing exactly what you are going to do.
However, as a teacher, we all know that lessons do not always work out as planned, so you need to make sure you are flexible with the way the outcomes are.
It's a very good point. Our next question came off the email again. It's from Michelle in California. She wants to know what some of the rules consist of in your class.
I teach my students to respect one another. Not only do they learn to respect their classmates, but they also respect the teachers, other faculty, and the property of the school. Respect can mean so many things and is very crucial in our classrooms.
I think it's important to let the students help make the rules in the classroom. Some of the rules that I have in my classroom is listening to others while they are talking, raise your hand to be called on, respect one another, and always do your best.
I teach my students that it's very important to follow the rules the first time they are given, so we don't have to waste precious time retelling the directions that we're already told.
That's very, very true again. These are great rules for a classroom. I might have broke a few of them back in my day. Well, let's take a poll from our audience. Anybody out there with a question? You, sir. Where are you from, sir?
New London, Minnesota.
New London, Minnesota. What's your name?
Henry Johnson.
Henry Johnson. Well, we have a Johnson here with us. What's your question, Johnson?
Well, I was wondering, what are your thoughts on positive reinforcement?
Yes, it's important to praise students for good behavior.
I agree. I think positive reinforcement excuse me, is very important. I don't mean just by handing out candy and prizes, but simply by encouraging the students.
I would have to agree with both of you. Positive reinforcement is a must in all classrooms. A positive reinforcement that I use in my classroom is a marble system. When students have good behavior, they receive marbles, and when they have so many, they get a reward for that.
And it looks like we got a call from our line. Let's take this and see what someone online has to say. Hello. Well, we have Jill from Iowa on the line. Go ahead, Jill. What's your question? Here, I'll put you on the speakerphone first.
Hi, Eddie. I have a 5-year-old child who's in kindergarten, and while I feel like the teacher lacks classroom management skills, what advice would you give me to solve this problem?
Well, I'd begin confronting the teacher in the classroom, ask, if they do have a problem with it or if they just really don't care. And if that doesn't work, then I would go to a principal or somebody with higher authority and try to get the problem resolved. But I would definitely start with confronting the classroom teacher.
As a parent, I would go and talk to the teacher, see how everything's going in her class, and if she would like some extra help. And if she's willing to take my help, I would go in there and spend some time in the classroom and give her some tips about classroom management.
Well, does that answer your question, Jill?
It sure does. Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Thanks for calling the Eddie Haskel Show.
I just have a, as being a teacher, I have a question for these two teachers. I struggle with organizing my classroom, and my organizational skills are not very well. What advice do you guys have for me?
I have found it helpful to have several shelves in the classroom. I put books, games, papers, and several other materials on the shelves. Also, I use filing cabinets for all my important papers that I need to keep.
Very good idea.
The thing I found most helpful in my classroom is putting books in boxes and separating them by themes so they're ready to go whenever your theme's going on in class.
Very good points once again. Let's try a different approach. Let's ask a child. Is there any children out in the audience that have a question? You, darling. Come on down. What's your name? Erica. Where are you from, Erica? Wilmer. Perfect. That's a great place to be coming from. And what is your question?
Why do teachers give so much rules?
You all asked wondering that same thing.
It's not that we just set the rules for you to have more things to follow. We set them so that we can get our work done effectively and everything done throughout the year and just have fun.
Thank you.
Perfect. Is there any other advice for our audience that you think would be helpful to them?
Well, I think it's very important that you are prepared before the students even get there, such as sending out a letter. Your first appearance is very important, having your classroom set up with their desks and their names on it. So there's just a lot that has to get done before the students even get there for this first day of school.
I would agree. It's important to introduce yourself to the parents and students before you start school. Also, you need to be sure to make a good first impression. When the students come into the classroom for the first time, greet them with a welcoming smile. Your appearance is also very important.
I would agree with both of you, but my tip would be remember your first few minutes are precious and don't blow it.
Well, that's great. And I thank you for coming on the Eddie Haskel Show. And I thank you for all the information you've given our other teachers out there. I think it's very helpful for them. And if you have any questions, remember to email me at eddiehaskell.com. Tune in tomorrow for teachers who have experienced bullying and kids that have experienced bullying. Thank you and good night.